Good afternoon, Teresa, Terry, Rose, MB, and Betty. Okay. Hey everybody, it's me, Father Scott, your pastor. Welcome to Friday, March 26th edition of the afternoon reflection. My estimate is this is probably close to the 150th reflection we might have. That's a lot. It's a lot of time of listening to me. God bless you all. Purgatory is going to be so short for you people. Okay. Let's talk about our last. This is a last class, last afternoon reflection on virtues. So, quick summary: we started with vices, then we talked about how the Beatitudes can help counter the vices, and then we moved into the virtues, and we started with the 3 theological virtues, and now we're looking at the 4 cardinal virtues. And today we're going to look at temperance, which is kind of the least of the cardinal virtues. Prudence, justice, fortitude, temperance. But it's still really important. So the Catechism says this: temperance is the moral virtue that moderates the attraction of pleasures and provides balance in the use of created goods. It ensures the will's mastery over instincts and keeps desires within the limits of what is honorable. The temperate person directs the sensitive appetites toward what is good and maintains a healthy discretion. Scripture says, "Do not follow your inclination and strength, walking according to the desires of your heart." Temperance is often praised in the Old Testament. Do not follow your base desires, but restrain your appetites. And in the New Testament, it is called moderation or sobriety. We ought to live sober, upright, and godly lives in this world. Okay, so it governs our natural appetites in accordance with right reason. We were given appetites. And we're going to talk about the 3 areas where this is important. We were given appetites for a reason. These appetites help to drive us to preserve life, to propagate life, to make life less miserable. Okay, so these are good things that got off track because of concupiscence, or concupiscence has led us to give into them more than right reason or God's law would intend. Okay? It puts the reins on concupiscence and our desires for pleasures. And it includes moderation, which is important in all of the virtues. We've talked about, the means between two ends. Temperance would be like the means between starving ourselves to death and, gluttony, or never having any fun and letting partying and all that be like the only thing that keeps us in existence. Like finding the balance between 2 extremes. And there are 3 particular areas where this virtue needs to act. Preservation of human life, meaning what it is that we need in order to stay alive. Perpetuation of the human race, and the comforts in human life. All right. So, what aspect of temperance deals with the preservation of human life? Abstinence. This refers specifically to food and drink. That we are to moderate what we eat and what we drink in accord with right reason. What do we need in order to be healthy? And obviously this is going to vary based on everybody's particular situation. Some people, need more food than others. Some people need more sleep than others. Some people can tolerate more drink than others. But it all has to be in accord with good reason and with God's law. Abstinence counteracts, it fights against drunkenness and gluttony. Those are the two vices, and drunkenness is a kind of a subset of gluttony, but the two vices that abstinence has to oppose. It protects a person from damaging their bodies and their health through food or drink. I would love to eat a Reese's Pieces concrete from, not Reese's Pieces concrete from Andy's every day. That would not be good for my health. Now, between gluttony and drunkenness, and this is the Catholic Encyclopedia saying this, gluttony is rarely a grave sin. Rarely have we completely destroyed our relationship with God because we ate too much. Doesn't mean that we should eat too much. It's just oftentimes what is gluttonous is probably more of a venial sin than a mortal sin. But we should be trying to avoid all of that. And it's just healthier. Drunkenness is grave when it destroys or separates us from the ability to use our right reason. Okay? And so it certainly can be a grave sin. And depending on the level of drunkenness, it regularly probably is a grave sin. So, because of that, it's good to be abstinent. It's good to use food and drink in proper measure. Abstinent does not necessarily mean to never have something. Yes, to abstain from meat on Fridays in Lent. We do abstain. We avoid completely. But abstinence in general is more about moderation, okay? Chastity. It regulates the sensual satisfactions associated with intercourse. Its opposite is obviously lust. For some people, like an ordained priest or someone in religious life or a consecrated virgin, chastity leads to a complete refraining of those particular sensual satisfactions. Or if someone is married, that those sensual satisfactions are within the proper purposes in marriage, which is to bring unity between the couple and to have an openness to life, if that's even still possible. This is probably, for many people, the part of temperance that we have to use the most, because our concupiscence, our fallen ability to properly use desires around this area it tends to be some of the strongest. Now, at different points in our life, that's going to be like this, right? But for a good chunk of our lives, it's pretty important virtue, aspect of the virtue that we need, okay? And then finally, the last thing is modesty. And I'll be honest, I don't exactly know how to explain this in terms of like the comforts of human life, but it guards against pride. It is in accord with decency and decorum, to not make ourselves look foolish, to not put others in a possible near occasion of sin. And it applies to attire, to speech, to our habits, to the style of living that we do. And they're governed by right reason and by the commands of God. So just like justice and fortitude and prudence, it's a natural virtue. So right reason can lead it. But God, knowing us better than we know ourselves based on our fallen nature, comes in and he says, I'm also going to give you these particular guidelines, these commandments, these structures within which to use these various desires. And that might go beyond just simple right reason. There might be more to it there. So temperance helps us to govern our desires, our passions, our appetites in accordance with right reason and in accordance with what God has commanded us. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say on that. So there it is. We did faith, hope, and love. We did prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance. And I think we all like instinctively understand these and try to live these. But I think it's good to put names and words and definitions to them, because I think the more intentional we are about approaching and using virtue, the better off we're going to be. And as I stated several times throughout the last couple weeks, virtues are like muscles. And we get better, we grow a muscle by using it. We get better at a skill by doing it. We grow in virtue by doing the virtues. You want to be prudent? Make good, thought through, prudent decisions. You want to have more fortitude? Be more courageous. Be willing to sacrifice, to mortify yourself. You want to be more just? Then think more about your decisions and about the consequences, not just for you, but for others, and whether or not that's for their best good. And then you want to be temperate, then take smaller potions and deny yourself extras when you don't need it, and avoid things that might inflame certain passions and desires and temptations within you, so that you can more easily live the virtue, especially as it pertains to chastity. Okay, there we go. There we are. We have made it through. I hope this has been helpful for you. And if it hasn't, I apologize. But my hope is that next week, as we get into Holy Week, I should be able to do afternoon reflections at least on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And on those days, my hope is to do some guided meditations for you, walking through parts of Holy Week. So be looking for that. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. It's been great to hang out with you. And this weekend, you know the routine. We've got Mass. We got Stations of the Cross tonight at 6. We have the Rosary at 8. Mass at 8:15 tomorrow morning. Confessions at 3:30. Mass at 5. 7:30, 9:30, and 11:30 on Rosary at 8. 7:30, 9:30, 11:30 Sunday morning. The 9:30, we now have a second Mass up at the gym. It's a full-on Mass. It's not, you're not watching it. There's a priest there celebrating Mass, because we have more people coming back on campus, and so to accommodate that until we're able to get people closer together in the church, we'll have that Mass, and then we'll still have overflow for each of our Masses, and then adoration from 1 to 6, and then we have community adoration at 6:30 on Sunday. So it's plenty to do around here. You cannot accuse us of not giving you things to do pretty much every day. That cannot be an accusation hurled in our direction. Okay, have a great weekend, everybody. It's always good to be with you, and may God bless you abundantly.